Okay. Let's start. I think all of you can see my slide. So we started a new chapter. This is on noise and nonlinearities. And as we started discussion last day, that for any component, microwave component, if we plot output power versus the input power, it looks something like this. It can be an amplifier, it can be passive components or anything else. So the bottom side, which let's say the measurable P output we are considering, then the minimum power that can be measured, it is defined by the noise floor, and then the amplifier or the component, it works like a linear device, and if we keep on increasing the input power level, then at some point it shows nonlinearity effect. So that means the output waveform, it's not an exact replica of the input waveform, and after that saturation occurs and finally component breaks down. Well, so now we started our discussions when the input noise power is very low. We are working near a noise floor. So we need to then understand what are the different sources of noise and how we can model them. And in the second part, under this chapter, we'll be considering near that 1 dB compression point or the nonlinear point. So how we can model nonlinearities. Anyway, so last day we discussed about different sources of noise, and there are some internal sources. That means if we connect any component in microwave system, so the component itself will produce some noise, and other than that we can have also external sources of noise. Now, among different internal noise sources, thermal noise is the main reason. So more than 90% of the noise power, it is due to only thermal noise. So since this point onward, we'll concentrate mostly on the thermal noise part, and we'll try to model it, and only so we are going to consider only the thermal noise. Well, so what is the source of this thermal noise? So mostly this is due to the kinetic energy of electrons in the resistor, and for any insulator it is because of the vibration, random vibration of different molecules. So if we put a resistor and connect the probes of a CRO across it, we should be able to see the noise voltage generated by the resistor. Now, if you calculate the average value of this noise voltage, then it is 0, but it will have some finite RMS, non-zero RMS value. And if we look at the frequency content, it is starting from 0 to infinity. So all the frequency components can be present. It is actually modeled by a random variable. So we, in conclusion, then we can say that there is no such frequency dependent parameter, because almost all the frequency components are present. So that's why sometimes we call it white noise. Another name is junction noise. Then how to model it? We use Planck's blackbody radiation law, and in general noise power, due to this finite physical temperature of the component, let's say the temperature is represented in Kelvin and by T, the letter T, then noise power generated by the component, it is equal to 4 k T R into Hf by Kt divided by exponential Hf by Kt minus 1. So where K, this is the Boltzmann constant, and the value is given here 1.38 into 10 to the power minus 23 joule per Kelvin. H is the Planck's constant, 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. T is the temperature in Kelvin, and R, this is the resistance in ohm, and F is frequency in hertz. Now, if Hf by kT is much less than 1, then we have Rayleigh-Jeans approximation. So originally this relationship was given by Rayleigh-Jeans, but more general one is the Planck's black body radiation law. Well, so under this condition, then you see the denominator of Nf is e to the power x minus 1. So when x is very small, we can approximate it by 1 plus x. So then x cancel out, and we have Nf equal to 4 kTr watt per hertz. So this is per unit frequency. Now, if my signal has some finite bandwidth B, then we need to multiply this quantity with B. So for wideband system, thermal noise pickup will be more. So this is the power. Then if we want to measure the corresponding voltage, its RMS value, noise voltage, that is equal to square root of 4 kTr in volt per hertz. So we are considering unit bandwidth. Now, power delivered to a load. So this is a resistor, let's say noisy resistor. I represented it here as a practical resistor. So it can be represented by an ideal resistor which is not generating any noise, plus a noise power source, which is shown here by En. Then the output voltage, its RMS value is given by this. Now, when we connect this resistor to any microwave component or in general any microwave system, so a part of this noise power is delivered to that system. Now, when it is matched to this resistor, maximum power is delivered to the system, and under that circumstances, Na, which we call the available noise power from the resistor, or this is the power component, maximum power delivered to a mass load, it is equal to KT. How it comes? So this is an important observation, that it does not depend on resistance value. Well, so let us concentrate on it, and let's see how the R term vanishes. So we are considering that resistor in series with a noise voltage source, the same thing, and R, this is the resistance as seen by this noisy resistor. Now, under matched condition, maximum power will be transferred to this right side R, right? So matched condition means then right side we are considering this is equal to R. Now we are using a filter. This is actually ideal bandpass filter conceptually to represent that unit bandwidth, 1 hertz. Okay, conceptually if you consider, then you can even delete this filter part, but we are considering finite bandwidth. To represent that, actually we have to consider a filter in between, otherwise noise pickup goes high. Anyway, so considering that, then the current due to this noise source which is flowing through this resistor circuit, it is given by Vn divided by twice R. Then the noise power delivered to the external resistor R, it is Vn I square R. So putting the value of Vn here, so Vn, what we obtain, square root of 4 kTr. Now if I put here, then it's coming kt into B, if I consider a finite bandwidth B. So this is interesting, that we see maximum available noise power independent of resistor. Then it depends on what? It depends on the physical temperature of the resistor. So T is the physical temperature. If we then cool down a resistor, corresponding noise will decrease. And the second parameter, that is the system bandwidth. So these two are the most important parameter. So we are always considering worst case scenario. What is the maximum noise power delivered to the system? Based on this concept, we will proceed. Well, now we have an issue here. Then from this expression, it seems that when B tends to infinity, then noise power tends to infinity. It is called ultraviolet catastrophe. But in practice, it does not hold. Why it does not hold? So how we came to this relation? We started from Planck's black body radiation law. This is the general expression. Then we use this approximation, and under this approximation we came to this, right? So then actually this, if B goes to infinity, then Tn tends to infinity does not hold practically. Remember this. Now at microwave frequencies, can we really use this approximation? You can put the values and you can check. H value is given, frequency it is of the order of 10 to the power 9, K is given. Then it seems that if we consider any component at room temperature, then it holds quite good actually at microwave frequency range, 1 gigahertz to 30 gigahertz. But now when we increasing frequency above 30 gigahertz, that means millimeter wave frequency range, or further higher terahertz frequency range, in that case this approximation it does not hold, because if you are now increasing to 10 to the power 10, 11, sometimes 12, so in that case we have to be careful. You can't use the approximation. So particularly if we consider a millimeter wave signal at low temperature, let's say minus 40 degree or liquid helium, liquid nitrogen temperature, then also you can't use this. So you have to be very careful when you are applying this. But in general, for microwave system, we don't see as such any problems. We can still use this, and we will continue with this approximation for now. Well, then what is the theoretical limit? Let us consider, okay, so here room temperature means 290 Kelvin. So that is like international standard. And this temperature is important because later we'll define the noise temperature and noise figure to new terms. Then we have to keep the physical temperature same. Otherwise, as we have seen here, if we change physical temperature, then the corresponding noise power will be different. So that's why when we are defining noise temperature or noise figure for any given component, so we keep the temperature at 290 Kelvin. So that is international standard. Anyway, so considering that, then what is the theoretical limit of noise floor per unit hertz? Let us consider. Then we need to put the value of K here, and T is 290 Kelvin. If you put the values, it comes 4.005 into 10 to the power minus 21 watt. Now you can to dBm. dBm, usually this power unit is more popular for microwave engineers, RF and microwave engineer. Now you might remember how we converted to dBm. First we change it to milliwatt and then take 10 log base 10. So it's coming minus 174 dBm per hertz. Now if you have some bandwidth, you have to multiply this figure with the bandwidth value. This is the theoretical noise floor. So for using conventional technique, then we can't measure anything below this power level. That you should remember. Well, next, then a new parameter, noise temperature. Well, so for thermal noise, what we have seen that almost all the frequency components are present. That's why sometimes we call it white noise. Now we are considering, let's say, only at microwave frequencies, RF or microwave frequencies, megahertz and gigahertz range. So in that case, then any component, it can be amplifier, it can be a filter, it can be a phase shifter. So any component or even microwave source also, in general, they will generate some noise. And you remember that we are considering only thermal noise. Now that noise can be represented as if it is generated from an equivalent resistor. Now from a resistor, how much noise is generated, or maximum available noise we have seen, that is equal to kT per hertz, right? Then if it is noisy, then corresponding T value will be higher. If it is less noisy, then T value will be lower. So that T we call the noise temperature of the given device. And how we do that? Let's say this is the component. It is represented by a noise source and connected to my system. System impedance is given R, as seen by the component. Now, in place of that component, we are putting a practical resistor at physical temperature TE, which is generating same amount of noise and supplying to my system. Now TE value I need to adjust to match this to noise. Then this TE will be called the equivalent noise temperature of that device. Now here that physical temperature also comes into factor. For passive components particularly, we don't have any other sources. Then for passive components, noise also depends on its physical temperature. So that's why you need some reference temperature, reference physical temperature, and that reference physical temperature is 290 Kelvin. Okay, so for any component, then we have to consider the ambient temperature as 290 Kelvin. You keep it there, and then you go for noise power measurement. So this point you have to remember. Well, now we'll be considering the components one by one, and we'll see how we can treat them, or how we can first calculate the equivalent noise temperature. The first component we are going to consider is a practical amplifier. So for the amplifier, then its amplification factor gain G is given. Let's say bandwidth is also given, B. Now we have to find out what is corresponding equivalent noise temperature of this amplifier. So how it is defined? So first of all, we have seen in the previous slide that we will be considering a resistor, and the noise generated from the resistor, it should be same as that by the amplifier. Then where I should put the resistor? Right of my amplifier or left to my amplifier? So again, this is a convention that for all the components, not just an amplifier, for amplifier, then passive components or other active components, we always consider that resistor, it is placed left side of the component, so which is actually generating the noise. This is the equivalent noise source. Well, so this is the practical resistor then, and left side we connected one RF source, and considering that RF source is not generating any noise for now, we only want to measure the noise part generated by the amplifier. Then we connect a resistor here, which is placed left or the input side of the amplifier, and then the output noise from the amplifier, it is actually produced by the resistor, then multiplied by the gain value of the amplifier, and that should be equal, this output noise should be noise generated by the amplifier. Then if TE is the equivalent noise temperature, then what should be the value of TE? It should be N naught divided by GK into B, because we are putting the resistor left side. So when this value it is passed through the amplifier, then it is multiplied by G and cancel out. Well, so this concept is important for all the components. You will see later that the corresponding resistor always is placed at the left side. Then the output power generated N naught equal to GK TE into B. Now, if we can measure N naught, then we can say the corresponding noise temperature of this practical amplifier is TE. This is the equivalent noise temperature of the amplifier. Now, let us consider one passive component. So for passive component, we have loss. Well, here one conceptual problem will be there. So let me first discuss in my whiteboard. Okay, I think all of you can see my whiteboard. So just like the amplifier, now here what we are doing, this is the lossy network and represented by its loss now L. L is a quantity which is greater than 1. Okay, so we'll be using two parameters, G and L. So, having some issue with the whiteboard. I'm reopening this. Okay. So this is the network and the register which is generating noise. Let's say it is some physical temperature. It is given by T physical. Now it is a passive component and we are considering only the thermal noise. Then N naught output noise power, it cannot be more than KT physical, right? So what is the noise then generated by this lossy network N internal? Then this is given by KT physical, the output noise, minus we connected an equivalent resistor to represent the noise generated by this network. This is KT physical. Now it passes through this lossy network. So divided by L. L is more than 1, we considered. So this is equal to then basically KT physical into L minus 1 divided by L. Then from definition, how we are using, if the corresponding equivalent noise temperature is TE, then KTE, it should be equal to L into N. So that means TE this is equal to L by K N internal. Now we put the value here, then N internal already we have the value, then it is coming T physical into L minus 1. This is one important relationship. So for any lossy component, then directly we can calculate what is the equivalent noise temperature if the loss factor is given and the physical temperature we know. Now when we define, again I said that the temperature is 290 Kelvin, then you can put simply T physical equal to 290 Kelvin here in this equation. So that is the standard value we consider. So this is from loss concept. Later we can also derive the same expression from gain concept. So gain for passive components, it should be then less than 1. So in DM Pojar's book, actually he did like that. I will be discussing later when again considering the another parameter, noise factor. We'll come back there later. Well, so what we see then in general, the equivalent noise temperature for any passive component with some loss L, which of course more than 1, then T equal to T physical into L minus 1. Now let's say we have a 3 dB power divider. So from port 1 to port 2 or port 1 to port 3, we have a loss of 3 dB. You can consider the Wilkinson power divider. Then what is the equivalent noise temperature? We can use that formula. Now first change 3 dB to fraction. If I change 3 dB to fraction, it comes L equal to 1.995. Then TE, that is equal to T physical equal to 290 Kelvin, standard value, into L minus 1, 88.5 Kelvin. So similarly, for any other attenuation, you can calculate what is the corresponding equivalent noise temperature. So practically how we measure, this is an important parameter for any component, then practically how we measure noise temperature. So there are 3 popular methods, but here we are going to discuss only one of them. We call it Y factor method. So what is done here? We use 2 standard references at some 2 physical temperature. Let's say given by T, T2. Well, so before that, let us define a parameter, excess noise ratio, ENR. So ENR, this is equal to, for 2 different sources, this is equal to 10 log Ng minus N0 by N0. Now noise is proportional to its physical temperature. If the corresponding physical temperature is Tg and T0, then it is 10 log Tg minus T0 divided by T0. So where this Ng and Tg, these are the noise power and equivalent noise temperature of the generator, and N0 and T0 are the noise power and temperature associated with the mass load at room temperature. We are considering the reference value, T0 equal to 290 Kelvin. Now let's say we have an amplifier, so it has some gain G, the signal bandwidth is given B, and we have to measure its equivalent noise temperature, TE. Now first the input side is connected to temperature to the resistor at temperature T1. Then the corresponding output noise power N1, this is equal to a part which is coming due to this external resistor which we connected at the input side, plus some additional part which is being generated by the amplifier. So from T1, then it is KT1B. Now passing through the amplifier, we have again G, so it is GKT1B. Plus the internal noise generated by amplifier, its noise temperature is TE. Now where we put the resistor to represent the noise temperature, we put to left side, input side. Then KTEB, it is the generated noise due to the amplifier, and it is passing through the amplifier, so we have to multiply by G. Similarly, the second reference point, which is at temperature T2, let's say the output noise is N2, then N2 equal to similarly GKT2B due to the external resistor plus the internal noise generated by the amplifier. So for the amplifier, it remains same. Now here for these two equations, you see we consider the maximum power transfer scenario. That means input side, output side, both are matched. We are considering only worst case scenario. Okay, so noise power available at the output, it cannot be more than these values. Now we define the ratio Y and assume T1 is more than T2. So T1 is then hot compared to T2. Then Y, that is equal to N1 by N2, that is equal to T1 plus, just put the values, it is coming then T1 plus TE by T2 plus TE, which is more than 1 since T1 is more than T2. Then we can rearrange it and express TE in terms of T1, T2 and Y. And where we'll get the value of Y? By measuring using a power meter at the output, N1 by N2. So here we have a problem. You see, when we are dealing with this type of power, it's very less. So power meter, if you use, it should be very sensitive. So in fact, we can measure noise power by using either power meter, which use bolometer principle, and spectrum analyzer. So the power meters which are available in our lab, usually they are not that sensitive which can measure this noise power. So we use spectrum analyzer. And again, there are different categories. So we have to use a very sensitive spectrum analyzer which can measure this noise. Now, practically, we don't use resistor at two different temperatures. So what we do, we have actually a calibrated noise source. Internally, they use some active components. It can be diode based or transistor based. So manufacturer won't say what is that. Now it has two different. It has a switch, external switch. So you can switch it between the equivalent T1 and T2. And internally, when you power in, it will generate some noise, and that is calibrated. It will give the corresponding, as if you are using a resistor at temperature T1, another resistor at temperature T2. It has two switching position. We call it calibrated noise source. We have it in lab. Well, so based on this, then let us take an example, numerical example. Let's say an X-band amplifier has a gain of 20 dB and a bandwidth of 1 gigahertz. Now the measured noise powers are N1 equal to minus 62 dBm at T1 to 90 Kelvin and N2 equal to minus 64.7 dBm at T1 equal to 77 Kelvin. So these two are two reference temperatures. Find its equivalent noise temperature by the Y factor method. So almost all the values are given, just you need to put it in this equation. So first find what is the value of y from n1 by n2, and then you put the values here. So directly then we get TE, this is equal to 170 Kelvin. So this is the equivalent noise temperature of the amplifier. Well, now we are using this amplifier with a practical source, microwave source. Then what will be the total noise at the output of the amplifier? So what is done here in question number 2, a source with an equivalent noise temperature of Ts equal to 450 Kelvin. So Ts is nothing but Te for the source, drives the above amplifier. So for the amplifier already we have T equal to 170 Kelvin. Now calculate the total noise power out of the amplifier. So noise generated by the source, which is, use that formula KTB, K Ts into B. Now it passes through the amplifier. So at the output side, we have a contribution which is coming from the RF source, and a second contribution which is generated by the amplifier itself. So then the noise power at output of the amplifier due to source, it is GKTS plus into B, plus for the amplifier it is GKTE into B. Now after this simply we are putting the values. All the values are given. So noise power we see it is minus 60.7 dBm. Okay, so before going to the next parameter, let us take a few questions. Then we will come back here. So you can switch on your microphone and ask me question.
So you were telling when you were defining noise temperature, sir, you had told something about passive elements. Sir, I missed that. So I got about the active elements that we defined TE. For passive elements, you were saying something.
No, passive element, similar way. So you have to go through that recorded video later maybe.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in the passive case means we took the output of output noise power to be K into T physical, but why was the input uh, noise power less than that? Means what was the reason?
Yes. What is my target here? What I want to do, that I want to find out the equivalent noise temperature of any passive component. That is my target. So the component, when we are using in any system, then what is the noise generated inside the component? First we have to know that, and that part how we treat it for the amplifier, we are using the same technique. So next we will be considering as if the passive component itself is lossless, and to left of it we connect an equivalent resistor that is generating that N internal. Now for passive components, what can be the maximum available noise which is actually being delivered to any system? That cannot be more than KT physical, right? It is like a resistor, passive component. We don't have any other sources. So that's why the output noise, it is KTB simply, or if the physical temperature is given, it is KT physical. Now, next what we do, then we connect that resistor in series with the noiseless passive component. So left side, okay, let me go back to that whiteboard. It's still there. Yeah, I think you can see it. So we first want to calculate N internal. Now output power, it cannot be more than KT physical. So then N internals, this is equal to KT physical minus how we did for the amplifier. So the noise generated by the resistor, it is passing through the amplifier. So we multiplied by G that time. Here also we do the same thing. So minus then KT physical divided by L, because it is lossy and loss L is the factor more than 1. So this is the only difference. So we need to first calculate N internal. So after that it is straightforward. Then KTE. Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, here I had a doubt. Since we are considering it lossy, so N internal power, noise power should be greater than output, right? Because some noise would be lost as well. Why didn't we add it to KT physical by L?
No, but mathematically we can't do that, right? N naught, that is KT physical. N naught, that is equal to KT physical. So N internal KT physical minus that quantity, no? Which is passing through this noiseless thing.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Any other question?
Sir, why do we model a noise source as a resistor? Because a resistor will have losses, right? So, and the same thing we cannot say for a noise source.
No. Why register losses? We are considering only the noise generated by a register. That's all. Because for that the formula is given. We know if R value is given, then what is the noise power generated from a register? We can easily calculate it. It's NF equal to 4 kTR per hertz. So that's why always we go to this reference point to a register. We don't have any L or G.
So the resistor will not have any power loss. Like
You are considering external power source connected to register, and we are speaking about the internal noise generated by the register itself. Two things are different. So here, if I go back, we have different sources of noise, internal noise sources and external noise sources. Now, among internal noise sources, we are not considering these points, only considering the thermal noise. So it is as if sitting inside the register. So a practical register, that's why it is presented by an ideal noiseless register plus that noise source, En.
okay, sir, got it.
Well, so after this, then we need to learn one more parameter. In fact, this parameter is more common if you want to buy a component from market, and you should note it down actually. What should be this parameter? Well, this is called noise factor or noise figure when we represent it in dB. How we define it? So TE already we have defined. Now let's say we are using a two-port component. It can be again amplifier or any passive component, anything. Then noise factor is defined as SNR, signal to noise ratio, at the input divided by signal to noise ratio at the output. Now signal is coming from left hand side, you connected some RF source here. It can be also an antenna, receiving antenna. Now it comes with some noise. Practical signal, always it is associated with noise. So it has some finite signal to noise ratio at the input side. when it passes through that component, depending on you have some G or L, you have to multiply that G or L with both this input signal and input noise. But at the output side, when it is reaching, in addition to that input noise, the component itself generating some noise. So then the output noise compared to signal, if I take the ratio, it will be always more. We don't have any control because component is always adding some noise. So then SNR at the output, it will be always smaller. So that's why if this is always more than 1 practically. And when we convert it to log scale, decibel scale, we call it noise figure 10 log 10 of F, always a positive number. Okay, so you should remember how we define it. Now, input noise power, if we consider it is coming from a matched resistor which is at that reference temperature T0 290 Kelvin. So then what is the noise power? Theoretical limit we calculated. Supplied by the resistor, it is KT0 into B. Or if I put the value, it is coming 4.005 into 10 to the power minus 21 into the bandwidth value in watt. Well, now we want to relate this noise factor with noise temperature. What is the relationship between them? Let us consider this any two-port component, a noisy network with some gain value, and let's say the equivalent noise temperature TE is given. Now, what we do, instead of RF source, let's say we are using that reference resistor at room temperature. So Ni, then this is KT0B, noise power which is falling on this noisy network. Then at the output side, we have a component due to this input noise, which is after passing through the network, it is becoming multiplied by, you have to multiply by G, plus some additional noise generated by your component, which is KGB into TE. So together then N not equal to given by this expression. Now how we define F, noise factor, that is equal to SNR at the input divided by SNR at the output. So let us consider the input signal is SI. Okay, so as shown here, SI is the input signal. Then at the output side, signal is amplified by G times, so it is GSI. Now put the values here, SNR at the input divided by SNR at the output. We have now all signal value, noise values at the input and output. Just put the values. It is coming 1 plus TE by T0. So noise factor F, it is equal to 1 plus TE by T0. This is an important relationship. So if you want to design microwave system, you should actually memorize this relationship. F equal to 1 plus TE by T0. It is one of the most important relationship. So when you buy any components from market, you will see amplifier, if you go through its specification, particularly for RF or microwave components, always they will also specify what is the corresponding noise figure, 2 dB, 3 dB noise figure. So lower is better than. Okay, so particularly for low noise amplifier, the first component of a receiver, then the noise figure should be low. Okay, why it should be low? We'll discuss later. Now, then lower is better for now. Well, so this T0, it should be then same for all. So that is why T0 is considered 290 Kelvin. Now, for any, okay, I'll discuss that later maybe after defining the cascaded system. Now let us treat this noise figure for some special cases. for a lossy network first. L, it is then more than 1. And what is the output noise from this? It is KTB. Here, I am using just DM Pojar's notation. So if you compare, I am repeating it because this lossless case and lossy case, it is little, means conceptually you have to understand. So this T previously here in this slide, I represented by T physical. So it is now represented by T in DM Pojar's book. So intentionally I used T physical so that you have understanding that it is the physical temperature. If you put your component at 300 degrees centigrade, then you should consider T equal to 300 Kelvin. Sorry, 300 plus 273. Anyway, sorry. So N naught, it is equal to KTB. It can't be more than that. So previous case we said K into T physical. It can't be more than that. And we are considering worst case scenario only. So this KTB, now this is due to two parts. One, this is because of the component it is being added, and one, it is because of the driving point impedance R. Then N added, it is equal to 1 minus G by G into KTB. You can put G equal to 1 by L here, then it is coming L minus 1 into KTB. So use the definition of TE then. This is equal to 1 minus G by G into T. So if you put G equal to 1 by L, it is equal to T into L minus 1. So we have the same relationship. Okay, but if I present it directly as DM Pojar's book, most probably it is more confusing, at least to me. So that's why I first used the different notation and present it like this. Now you can understand the difference, how we are treating an amplifier and how we are treating a lossy network. Well, so if I want to calculate then noise figure, or let's say the noise factor, we are going to use this relationship. F, it is equal to 1 plus T by T naught. Now already we derived for TE, just put the value here. F equal to 1 plus T by T naught. So in place of T, it is T into L minus 1. So this is the F value for a lossy network. Now it is interesting. Let's say the network is at temperature T naught. In that case, F is equal to L. That means, let's say if we have a 6 dB attenuator at room temperature, then its noise figure is 6 dB, right? So if T is equal to T naught, then F is equal to L. This is one interesting relationship for lossy network. So for any then Wilkinson power divider, you are having 3 dB power down, then the noise figure is 3 dB. Straightforward. If you have a filter, band pass filter, at the mid band, insertion loss is given as 1.2 dB, 1.2 dB. Then the corresponding noise figure is 1.2 dB. Straightforward. Okay, this cascaded section maybe next day. So then you can understand why we need to use a low noise amplifier as the first component of a receiver. Well, so if you have any question, you can switch on your microphone and ask me. Any question? Okay, then let us stop here. Okay, thank you all.